principessa nella tua fredda stanza. Guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Yes, nessun dorma. Translating that in English, thank you. It means nobody sleeps. I couldn't sleep. My wife was in a coma, and my whole world was crashing in around me. At this point in my life, when I was struggling to continue to go on with life, little did I know that music was going to be paving my way, and it was going to be healing me. It was going to help me to express my emotions and my feelings. It was going to keep me grounded and focused. It would also be an inspiration for others. So here is my story. I grew up in Italy, surrounded by a loving family. And as far as music is concerned, I used to listen to classical music at my grandparents' place on my mother's side. My dad once gave me a harmonica and I started playing it without any lessons or anybody telling me how to place this thing on my mouth. And when I was a teenager, I just picked up a guitar and taught myself to play. What a freak. However, growing up, I did the usual things that everybody does. And at some stage, I met my wife-to-be at a roller skating rink. In the 80s, roller skating was the in thing, and that's what I did. I met her, and I fell in love with her. I went up to her because she was struggling to roller skate, and I just held her by the hands and took her for a ride, literally. And she fell in love with me too, and things developed, and we started dating. It was holiday season, and at some stage, because she wasn't as free as I was at the time, she went on holidays with her parents to a region of Italy called Apulia. We used to live in Turin, so that's many, many kilometers away. And I went on holidays with my parents to Sicily because I'm Sicilian. While I was on holidays, after a couple of days, I decided that I didn't want to live a month without seeing Antoinette. So I had to go and see her. I jumped on a train and went to Messina from where I was holidaying in Sicily. And by the time I ferried over to Reggio Calabria, my connecting train that went to Bari had left. There was another train at 1:30 in the afternoon, but the day after. So I did the unthinkable, whatever. I did what I'd never done before. This is all for love. I started walking and hitchhiked for 500 kilometers, all dressed up in neat casual, nice shoes and a little bag with some change of clothes. However, tired, thirsty, hungry, it was nighttime by the time I caught up with Antoinette, but I was the happiest I'd ever been. Caught up with her and her parents. And we spent a few days on holidays, and I had the brilliant idea to ask Antoinette's dad, why don't we all go back to holiday with my parents in Sicily? I must have been a salesman in another life. However, they happily agreed, and we went back to Sicily and caught up with my parents, and we had a really great time. And that's when I bought a diamond ring and proposed to her in front of my close family and my extended family and her family. Look, this part of my life was a dream. I realized that I was in love with her. She realized she was in love with me. So we ultimately got married. We went on holidays with friends. We enjoyed holidaying, just her and I. We went overseas many times. It was all perfect. My life at last was perfect. Until my friend Antonio and I, one Sunday afternoon, were waiting for our wives to come back home to us so we could all go for dinner. And we heard this great crashing sound from one of the main roads that was close by to where Antonio lived. It was our wives involved in a massive car accident. This was the start of me, that's the start of my journey losing my wife. Antonio's wife, Ida, survived the crash, but Antoinette was in a coma for 13 days and 13 nights. She slept. I didn't. Antoinette died on the 13th of September in 1985. I miss her. Somehow I needed to heal. I needed to get on with life after that. But how? What do you do? I was back living on my own, and although I was learning to cook for myself, a couple of times a week I would go to this family-run restaurant. And here is where music came into play, came into my life again. A group of people on Thursday would rock up with their guitars. And like a 5-year-old in a children's playground, I just joined them. And I started singing with them and playing with them, and finally understood that I found some joy into my life again. Music was healing for me. And I was learning to live again. A couple of years later, I moved back to Melbourne, where I had lived from the ages of 3 till the ages of 10. I met a lot of people. I made a life in Melbourne. And music once again entered my life. I joined the Three Tenor tribute show in Melbourne. And we toured Victoria, interstate. We went on cruises. Every time I sung and was on stage, I'd observe people. I could feel their energies shifting. They would smile. They would cry. They understood the music, even though sometimes, although they didn't understand the words because we sang in different languages, they just got it. And I got it, that these people were leaving their homes, coming to our concerts, and being in their moment. I saw, just as I experienced receiving a calm when I sang, even these people were being calm, where they were receiving this energy that came from music and from what we did on stage. People were escaping their world during these moments. I've now retired from the Three Tenor Tribute Show because now I live in Queensland. I see the smile on my face. And I still continue professionally to be a singer and an entertainer. But the most warming moments that I get now is in the smaller concerts, when little children come up to me on stage, down from the stage. Some come up on stage too. They're the future musicians of this world. But they come up and sing and dance, and they stare at me. Their parents are watching on. But I think these children just get it. They're very intuitively getting what the music is. It's a calming thing. It's a spacing out thing. Music is therapy for all humans. Music is therapy for me. And it's really important to embrace it. Even I've noticed people are affected by music even just for a moment or for a song. They are escaping their reality and their world just temporarily. And so now I sleep. I am really happy. Throughout all of life's ups and downs, music has been my constant. It has kept me grounded. And I've seen firsthand how it changes moods, thoughts, and emotions. One of my favorite songs is Nessun Dorma, Nobody Sleeps. I would love to share this with you tonight, and I truly hope that during this song you escape momentarily to somewhere special. Please enjoy. Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me, il nome mio nessun saprà, no, no, sulla tua bocca quando la luce splenderà ed il mio bacio scioglierà il silenzio che ti fa mia. Di legua notte tramontate stelle, tramontate stelle, all'alba vincerò, vincerò, Thank you.